Hey guys, welcome back to the DrCliffAuD vlog. This is vlog number 172, and if you missed it last week, I was going to be talking about my trip to Australia that I went on a couple of weeks ago, and when I got back, I was of course going to tell you all about it, but we actually got robbed at the YouTube studio that we have over that's, I don't know, down the street from our clinic, and I had to make a vlog about that last week. Dr. Rachel Cook was in that vlog with me, so if you have not seen vlog number 171, you might want to pop back and watch that one. It's disappointing and hilarious at the same time, if you ask me. Nevertheless, today I'm going to be talking about the speaking engagements that I had when I went on my trip to Australia, rather when Ashley and I went on our trip to Australia. But before I do, if you could do me a huge favor, click that like button, really helps out the channel. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, go ahead and do that as well. It is greatly appreciated. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about it. So about a year ago, Audiology Australia, which is their national organization of audiologists out in Australia, they reached out to me and said, hey, you know, you've done a lot of stuff online. A lot of our members know who you are. Would you be interested in coming out and talking to our members and giving a keynote for our national conference that we're going to start up again post-COVID? And I was like, well, hell yeah, if you want me to come out to Australia, you don't have to twist my arm too hard. Pretty much any time that I've went international, it was for recreation, except for when Ashley and I got married in Jamaica. But when I was in the military, my international travels were for going to war. And since I've been an audiologist, my international travels have been because of audiology and the platform that I have on YouTube. So I was like, well, absolutely. But if I go out there, I want to make sure that I give more than just one keynote talk. If I'm going to take all the time to go out there, I want to be as helpful and as beneficial to the members of Audiology Australia as humanly possible. So we ended up discussing, and I was actually involved in 3 different talks at Audiology Australia, plus one extra one that was a little bit of a surprise to me, but I'll go over that here in a minute. But what I want to talk about is generally what my talks were about. So the initial talk that I gave was the keynote talk to open up the entire conference, and it was, I believe, titled Thrive or Die: Why Consumer Understanding of Best Practices Will Control Whether or Not You Succeed. And you know my platform. I've been talking about best practice audiologic care for darn near 6 years at this point. And the whole purpose is that not only does that ensure that patients have optimal outcomes, but it also ensures that patients understand where the true value of hearing treatment is at, which is the expertise of their provider and all of the things that their provider does to achieve a higher level outcome. It's more than just hearing aids. And so I wanted to make sure that I shared that with them. And when I asked a bunch of their members after that keynote talk what they felt like the most impactful part of the talk was, it was my picture of the Titanic. And this is how I kind of related it to them. In the United States, I believe that the world of audiology is like the Titanic. And what I mean by that is that nobody thought the Titanic was sinkable. And then all of a sudden, it hits an iceberg and it starts to sink, and there's certain people who escape on lifeboats, and then everybody else dies. And more people died than survived the Titanic. And the reason I think that that's very indicative of the audiology community here in the United States is that I think that a lot of people think that audiology is just invincible when it comes to any of the external threats when it comes to audiology. And I believe that we've already hit an iceberg inside the profession of audiology. There is a lot of, managed care insurance. I've talked about that ad nauseum. Low quality care, people wanting to buy over-the-counter hearing aids instead of prescription hearing aids. Like all of that stuff is fine, but if you are not following best practices, you are basically on a sinking ship. And the only ones who are going to survive are the ones who've actually decided to step up their game, provide a higher quality of care, and follow best practices. Those are the ones who escaped on the lifeboat. So that was the main compelling thing, because in Australia, what they say is that they're about 5 years behind the United States in terms of outside forces having a negative impact on their profession. And the more time that I spent there in Australia, the more I realized that there's a lot of negative forces there impacting quality of care for individuals who have hearing loss. And I was, initially thinking, oh, everybody here does RealR measurement, everybody follows best practices, and that is not actually true after I had many discussions with audiologists in Australia. So I just wanted to present them with a cautionary tale of the only clinics that are having massive success in the United States are the ones that are doing things right by their patients and following best practices. And the other ones are the ones that are struggling. So that was my keynote talk, very well received from the feedback that I got, but I also gave another talk talking about, it was basically a content mastermind. I'm basically trying to teach audiologists in Australia how to create content, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's written content, audio content, whatever the case may be, to create content and to create it better. Because there's a lot of content creators out there that are trying to say things about hearing aids, about audiology, about vestibular, people who have no freaking clue what they're talking about. They're just doing these affiliate videos where they're trying to get you to buy these crappy over-the-counter hearing aids. Because yes, there are good over-the-counter hearing aids and crappy over-the-counter hearing aids, and they're trying to get you to buy the crappy ones because those are the ones that they can get commission on. But I feel like if there's audiologists who truly have a strong message and something important to share and something valuable to share, I want them to be able to share it in a way that people actually want to engage with that content. So I held a 3-hour mastermind where I told them all of my secrets. Everything from a content creation to how I come up with videos, how I do mind mapping for that, how to actually set up a YouTube studio, how to do the recording and the editing. Like I literally gave away every single secret that I possibly have to hopefully make more content creators that are audiologists on YouTube and a variety of other different platforms, because the only way that we can drown out all the BS out there is to create higher quality content. So that was my second talk, basically. The third talk was the onboarding talk for the Hearing Up Network. I'm really trying to launch the Hearing Up provider network inside of Australia. That is my network of hearing care professionals who follow comprehensive best practices, and they've gone through my vetting program for that. So it was about an hour talk. I'm basically sharing like, here's all the best practices that we have to abide by. Here's why we abide by them. Here's how it can be beneficial to you as a clinic. Here's how it can be beneficial to your patients. Let's get things going in Australia so we can increase the quality of care in Australia as well. And shocker, most of the people who are there, if they're in private practice, those are the ones who are like, yeah, I want to start stepping up my game, because if I want patients to come to me and spend more money than what they're going and spending to get the government hearing aids and all of that, I want them to actually have a better experience. And so I was teaching them how to give their patients a better experience and how to help educate their patients in the fact that they are. And because I have a very big reach inside of Australia as 5th most viewed country in terms of my video views, I'm really trying to increase my reach and influence in Australia to get Australians into providers who are better at what they do and who follow comprehensive best practices. So those were the 3 talks that I gave at the conference. Every single one of them, from what people told me, were very well received. I'm sure there was plenty of people who hated my talks. That's okay, it is what it is. Oh, I also forgot, there was a panel discussion that I sat on as well. So it wasn't really like a talk that I gave. There was 4 of us up there on stage. We had a researcher, we had 2 audiologists, well, I think 3 audiologists. One worked for a manufacturer. It was myself, and then another audiologist. And they were basically giving us, different questions for the panel to answer. A lot of it was me explaining kind of my methodology and process of how I go about treating patients with hearing aids, what I believe that our role is as an audiologist to optimize treatment outcomes, not just sell hearing aids. And that was well received by professionals, so other audiologists. I heard that some manufacturers felt like we were, kind of ragging on them in a little bit. And to be honest with you, I don't care. Like, I want them to make good products, but don't tell me how I should be treating my patients. I'm the audiologist, you're the manufacturer, keep making good technology. I will be the one who implements that technology appropriately, because we've all had bad experiences with technology, and it wasn't because of the tech, it was because the provider didn't do or implement the tech in the right way. But that was a really good panel discussion. I probably enjoyed that more than any of the other talks that I gave by myself, because I just like interacting with people, as you can see. In fact, actually, I'm just interacting with the camera right now, but you get the point. So those were basically the talks and presentations that I was a part of at Audiology Australia. It was a fantastic time. It was in the Gold Coast. We stuck around the Gold Coast for a little bit, but I actually made some connections there at the conference. And one of the connections that I made was with the individuals at the National Acoustics Laboratory. So if you're familiar with hearing aid prescriptions, the NAL-NL2 prescription is the National Acoustics Laboratory Nonlinear 2, so it's the second version of their prescription. That was developed at the National Acoustic Laboratories out there outside of Sydney. So I actually made some contact with Brent Edwards. He got me in contact with people at NAL, and they actually arranged for me to come do a tour, but they asked me to give a presentation to the researchers at NAL. And so I'm like, okay, well, here I am on vacation. I've got about 5 days before I have to go there and create a presentation for them. And I'm like, what the heck am I going to talk about that is interesting to researchers, right? So not clinicians necessarily, but researchers, people who are actually doing research that we take and implement in the clinic. And I'm like, shoot, okay, well, it took me a couple of days to think about it, but I remember being a kid walking. I grew up in the country, if you know. We had a little wooded area behind our house, and I remember walking in the woods. I was probably like 5 or 7 years old, and I remember seeing a tree literally fall, and I was like, what the heck? And then all of a sudden I was like, how many other trees are falling out here in the woods that I'm completely unaware of because I'm not around the tree when it falls? And it got me thinking about this concept of like, if a tree falls, and no one's there to hear it, does it actually make a sound? And then it dawned on me that that's how I view research. So there's a lot of great research that's going on, you know, everywhere, but there's a lot of great research coming out of the National Acoustics Laboratory. So my talk was about this concept of, if you do great research, but nobody knows what that research is, does it even mean that you did research? Now, you would make the argument that, well, of course it means that you did the research. The problem is that nobody knows about it. So I basically went on, we only had about 15 minutes, or actually I think 20 minutes for me to talk, but I gave this presentation with this concept of like, yes, you need to do government grant writing and get funding so you can actually do the research, and then you have to publish the research, which can lead to more funding and all of that stuff. But I feel like they need to do a better job of taking the information that they get and disseminating it out to hearing care professionals and to consumers in a better, more consumable way. So I like to read research, like I'm not gonna lie, like I enjoy that side of it. But if I were to try to just like have a channel where I'm reading research studies off to you guys, you'd be like, oh my gosh, get to the point, make this interesting, create a story around it, do something. And so I decided to kind of share that concept with them. Now, what I'm hoping is that we end up forming some kind of a relationship where if they come out with a really interesting piece of research and I'm able to look at that and be like, holy cow, that would be really interesting for individuals with hearing loss and for hearing care professionals to know, then I could take that and turn it into video content that I could push out there, all of this new research that they're creating. Either that, or, and I strongly encourage that they actually hire somebody to come in to work with their researchers to identify what the most interesting parts are of their research, and then create information around that to disseminate to consumers. And you know, here's the thing, like we're in this digital age where you can take information and get it out to a lot of people, and then if you do it the right way, a lot of people can actually see that and it can actually have a positive change in the world. But if really interesting research is done and it just lives inside of a journal article and nobody ever sees it, what impact is that actually going to have on humanity? And I would argue that it's not going to have much impact on humanity. So I was really excited. Honestly, that was probably the highlight of my entire trip to Australia. I've been talking about the NAL-NL2 hearing loss prescription for darn near 6 years at this point. I'm a huge fan of verification and validation, and verifying with real measurements a verifiable prescriptive target like the NAL-NL2, and it was just really cool for me to actually go to the facility that this research is being done at. They have a really cool anechoic chamber in there, and it was really just nice to have, after I had my talk, there was a big Q&A session where they're asking questions about a bunch of different things, and then we got to have lunch afterwards. I believe that I've made some friends there in Australia, which I'm really happy about, some colleagues there in Australia, and I actually look forward to going back. In fact, I have to pretty much get going here because I have a call with the Hearing Business Association in Australia, and I think that's coming up here in a few minutes. So that is it for this week's vlog, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you want to hear about the fun side of Australia from a recreational standpoint, make sure that you watch my vlog next week. I will have Ashley on with that vlog. And then, as always, I'll see you next week.